Good morning, everyone. We're excited to present this workshop on program signaling to you as you are applying for your residency applications this year. And I know that this is a topic that many of you have questions on, and so we would like to try to introduce this and go over tactics and our recommendations on how to utilize program signaling to your advantage as you're applying for residency. So first off, what is program signaling? Program signaling is a feature of Eris that allows you to express essentially a formal interest that you are uh, have a strong interest in a particular residency program. And why did this come about? This came about because of a term called application inflation, where people were just applicants were applying to so many different residency programs. And I will tell you, during my time at UC Irvine, after meeting several applicants, some of them had shared with me they had applied to, and this is for family medicine, 40 to 50 programs. And I think part of the signaling, program signaling came about to combat that, to basically show programs, hey, I'm actually interested in your program. Please give me a legitimate shot and review my application, right? And so for the applicant side of things, it allows you a mechanism to show your serious interest in a program that you're genuinely interested and would like to interview with. And from the program itself, you got to remember these programs are receiving thousands of applications, right? Like I've shared with you before, when I was at UC Irvine for family medicine, we would receive around 2,000 applications for 9 positions every single year. So at times it's really hard to really filter through and see who genuinely is interested or not. Program signaling is a way to help with that. Keep in mind also that programs can only see that you signaled them, and it just says a yes to them, but they cannot see where you have signaled other programs. They're not able to do that. So what is standard versus tiered signaling? So most programs have what's called standard signaling, and that's where a program sees a simple yes to indicate your interest. But some other programs have what's called a tiered signaling approach, which is a two-tiered signal to indicate different levels of interest. And typically those are considered gold or silver. So gold is where you have your most preferred interest. Um, and silver is preferred programs, but these carry less weight. And it allows a powerful tool if you use them strategically. Some of the specialties that utilize this are going to be anesthesia, derm, internal medicine, and OB. So how do you utilize these signals to your advantage? So the first step I would recommend is really to utilize every single signal that you have available. Why wouldn't you, right? Every single opportunity, every single one, you should utilize them. I recommend that you have a mixture of different programs that you are using for your signals. So let's say you have 15 signals. I would recommend breaking them up into reach, target, and safety programs. So what are these? Reach are the programs. Obviously, all of these programs, to preface, these are programs that you would be happy to be at, right? Regardless of whether they're a reach, target, or safety program. Don't utilize a signal for a program that you feel like you're not going to be happy at. If you're not going to be happy there, don't utilize your signal. Use it for the programs that you actually would want to be there. And the reach ones, those are your dream programs, right? Let's say you have 15, maybe you utilize 2 to 3 of them for that. For your safety programs, maybe 2 or 3 where, again, you feel like your competitiveness would be, that's why you're using them as a safety program, that you feel like you would be a very strong match for them. And target programs, these are ones, again, that really align with what you're looking for, right? That you feel meets your mission, that you meet their mission. They offer what you're looking for. These are your target programs, and maybe that's about 10 programs that you're going to list out of 15. Target and focus on your why. So I want to focus on that. So the top influences, in my opinion, for sending out signals are going to be really geographic preference. So as you may have had a chance to look at, and I want to emphasize this again, Darnell has worked so hard on putting together our Okra resource webpage. And you may remember on the specialty profiles, on the second page of every single specialty, it lists there, what are applicants looking for in a program? And oftentimes, it is usually going to be geographic preference. That's going to be the number one thing. So for us, many of us are from the inland Southern California area or within Southern California itself. So again, remember, target your programs based off of geographic preference. You have reasons to be there, right? This is your home. You have family there. Your significant other is there. All those things you got to play into mind, because when you're making and formulating which programs to apply to, remember, it's not just it's not just you, right? You've got to factor in other things that are important to you in family, and all those things are important. Career alignment is another important part of signaling, in my opinion, because you want to be at a program. Let's say, you have a particular focus, and many of you, I know you do. That's why you're even here at UCR School of Medicine, which is to work with marginalized and disadvantaged populations, uninsured, underinsured patients. So maybe you want to, if you're going to a primary care field, maybe you want to be at a place that has a federally qualified health center as its continuity residency clinic. So those are things that I would really recommend you look for career alignment. And also maybe, let's say you're going to another specialty and you're looking for fellowship opportunities. Does that residency program offer those fellowship opportunities? Let's say you're interested in surgical oncology, and you're applying to general surgery. Does that residency program have that? Do they offer research opportunities and fellowship opportunities? And will that align with what your career goals are? I already mentioned this already, but program fit is very important. Do you think that you would be happy there? And those are things that we'll all talk about, as the application season goes through in terms of, in our next workshop, in terms of, preparing you for interviews. And we'll talk about that in terms of perceived fit and whatnot. The final thing I wanted to mention is really don't overthink it. Really, why is this important? Again, signaling the data from double AMC shows that if you are signaling a program, depending on what specialty it is and depending on what program it is, ranges anywhere between 2 to 9 times more likely of getting an interview. So again, a signal can trigger a program to give you a more holistic review of your application, but don't overthink it. It's not the end of the world. You're going to get interviews at programs you don't signal at. It's not the end of the world. Main thing is to focus on the other things that you have at your disposal and things that you need to do right now in terms of maximizing your opportunities, right? Which is doing well in your sub-Is, getting great letters of recommendation to even get to that holistic review, right? I know Darnell has some other comments that she'd like to add to at this time.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Nguyen. I just also wanted to add, on top of all of the great tips that Dr. Nguyen has provided, our general advice is to make sure that you use your signal where you have a strong interest, where it may not be too obvious. So typically programs where you haven't done an away rotation, perhaps. So using a signal on a program that is already very likely to interview you, for instance, due to a away rotation that you may already have, may be a missed opportunity to strengthen your chances elsewhere. So you may also want to reach out to the program if you have this type of relationship. And many of the medical students who I've met when I was a program coordinator is that they are very open to asking these program if it may be acceptable for them if they're planning to apply to that program, if they can ask them if they can signal directly to them, or if they would rather to signal to a different program. So keeping in mind that each program may have a different type of preferences. And you may want to conserve those signals when possible, because you do have a limited number of signals that you can signal.
Thank you, Darnell. And finally, how do you know how many signals you have? So the AAMC, which Darnell will have the link linked in the email that this video is being sent through, list them here. So as you can see here, these are the different specialties along with, as you see, the vast majority are the standard program signals where there's a one system, right? All the signals are equal. And then there's a handful that use that tiered system between gold and silver. A special note we'd like to mention is that some particular programs have, for example, internal medicine is going to be that one where all of your signals, whether they are for the preliminary or categorical programs, they're all ranked the same. It doesn't distinguish whether it's for preliminary or categorical. Remember, the difference between preliminary and categorical internal medicine is that preliminary medicine is for typically your first year of residency, and oftentimes that's the stage for you to do other specialties afterwards. For example, neurology, dermatology, radiology often use internal medicine as the preliminary year. Categorical means that all of the years are combined in a residency, and that is your final primary specialty. So, for example, if you're doing categorical IM, then IM is going to be your residency that you will finish with. And again, Darnell and I just want to emphasize that if you have any questions about signaling, please feel free to reach out to us. And we're very excited to continue to support you throughout this residency application season, and we're always here to help you.